Okay, so my background. I was a student. I was studying computer science, and it was, you know, not very profitable. And I started working painting houses in my spare time. I'd seen an ad. I helped somebody on a job. I got paid cash money. Very easy to get started. And then later I kept doing it, and later he asked me if I would work for a fixed price. He would just pay me to finish the job, which is easy. And then I was late, so I hired a friend and asked him to help me finish the job. So now I'm an employer and I'm running a business. And it just went from there, and it just gradually snowballed that I was eventually employing 4 or 5 people in England, painting houses, making some very nice money, and I just gave up computers completely, just lost interest. And then we had all these economic problems in England, the same as we did in Ireland not so long ago. And I went to Germany because there was a big construction boom in Germany. And I started really small. I just found an agency that needed painters. I was a painter decorator. The agency, they spoke German, they spoke English, they sent me to a job, and I ended up working with a crowd of English guys. And I tried to learn the language a little bit. And at the end of 4 months, when the job finished, all these guys, English and Irish construction workers, just turned to me and said, "Okay, Chris, you speak the language, find us a job." So everybody put, I think it was a couple of euros, couple of pounds into a kitty. We bought a telephone card, and I stood in the phone box, calling companies, looking for a job for 10 men. And it took me 4 hours. You just get out there, start calling the kind of people that want to buy the thing that you're selling, and eventually you will find customers. It's all about the quality, the price, and fitting what you can provide with what they need. And we did that, and I did that for 4 years, 5 years, almost 5 years. I was constantly going out, marketing these services to companies that had a need to fill. We were going out, we were doing a good job, we were getting well paid for it, we were making money, but they were happy to pay the money because we were delivering a very good service. And that worked for several years until the market conditions changed. There was too much new property in the city, too much had been renovated, there were too many empty projects, too many people looking for work, and not enough customers. And it was time to get out. So as each of my jobs finished, I would just pay the lads that had been working for me. They went home, and eventually there was nothing left. There was just me and this pile of cash, because I had actually made money and I got out before the bubble burst. So I was really pleased with myself with that. And then from there, I just didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I was still young, so I got my working holiday visa and I went to Australia, and I ended up working as a door-to-door salesman, just knocking on doors, asking people for business. Just the same as I'd done in Germany, really, only this time I was working for a big company. And I did that, and very soon I was training other people to do that. I had my own team. I was running a sales team of 10 people. And yeah, again, I was making money, I was having fun, but I was kind of bored. And after a couple of years of doing Taiwan, which is like China Light, it's a slightly more relaxed, more civilized version of China. And I stayed 10 years. I was working for an agency initially. They put me into a school, they found me some work, they got me a visa. And then I started looking around like you do, and I found some private students, people who wanted one-on-one tutoring. I looked for the websites where people advertise when they need a tutor. I looked for the websites where people advertise if they can provide the service. And I started to get my own portfolio of customers. And then I put together an advertising leaflet. I actually paid one of my students to create that for me in the local language. And I mailed it to all of the schools in the area. There was 150 schools and universities. And I got a bunch of callbacks from that. And then I went to see people, and I talked about their needs, what they wanted, what they needed for their students. And I said, yeah, okay, I can create a program for you. And I created something that fitted their needs, because that's what business is all about. It's not about what you've got. It's not about what you want to sell. It's always, what do you need? What are you trying to achieve that I can help you with my skills and experiences? So I did that, and I made a fantastic living for 10 years, living in China, living in Taiwan. I had a really great time, a really great life, and again, at the end, the economy was changing, the environment changed, things were going down. and it was time to move on. But one thing I did while I was still in Taiwan was I invested some of my money and my time into a new business, totally unrelated to what I was doing. And actually, I didn't really invest any money into it. And that was the beauty of all the businesses that I'd started up to that point, which is that you start very, very small. You start with nothing, basically, and you just identify a need. You find something that people want. And in this case, it was simply a mobile phone. It's easy to buy a mobile phone, but at that time in Taiwan, as a foreigner, it was very difficult to get a connection, to get a SIM card. And without a SIM card, you're not contactable. You can't find a job. You can't find work. So the regulations created a situation where there was this very tight demographic of people, this very easily identifiable market of people with a very clear need. And they were prepared to spend money to solve this problem. So I made a few very simple ads on websites where the foreign English teacher community would gather to talk about their life and their problems and find solutions to their problems. Cost me nothing. It's literally posting on a bulletin board. And I got messages from people saying, yeah, Chris, can you help me with this? And then I would take them to the phone store and I would get them a phone account and be their guarantor because I'd been there long enough. I was established. And then they could find work, and then they could make money, and then they could keep paying their phone bill, and they were happy, and every month they would pay me a little profit. So then I contacted the phone company directly, and I got a contract as a reseller. And that's very simple. I take SIM cards in bulk from them. You take 10 or 20 phone connections, and they give you a discount on the bill. 20% initially, rising to 40% if you've got more customers. So I'm taking the risk, maybe, but I'm providing the service to the people that need it. I'm providing the marketing service to the phone company. Everybody wins. So I started doing this. More and more people means more and more profit for me. It was a very easy business. It cost me nothing to start. The only problem was collecting the money. I had an online system that I could see how much I had to pay for every SIM card that belonged to me. I could send people emails or put up on a website how much they had to pay me. But they're people who've just arrived in a new country. They don't have bank accounts. They couldn't transfer the payment to me easily. So I ended up meeting people in pubs and restaurants after work, or sitting in a coffee shop in between meeting two different students and arranging to meet people just to collect the money for their phone bill. And it was kind of tedious, kind of hard work. And I was trying to figure out how to automate this. The key to a successful business in the long term is to automate everything, make it efficient. So you start, you test your market, you find customers. I did that. You find a solution, you find something that works for them that you can make money from. I did that. I found the business model. How much profit can I make? How can I get a supply? How can I serve the customers, and how can I make profit? I did that. The next thing is take away all the friction so that it's really simple and the business runs itself. And all I have to do is get and keep customers, because that's what business is, getting and keeping customers. I was struggling. I was really having trouble figuring out how I was going to do this. I was determined to do it because there was money. I was making 5 or 10 euros every month on every customer. And it can very quickly become a very profitable business. There are tens of thousands of foreigners in these countries. It was a great opportunity. And then the government changed the rules. They made it easy for people to get the phones. My business went away just like that. In the space of 3 months, most of my customers transferred their phone accounts into their own names. They didn't need me anymore, and the business was gone. But so what? I didn't lose any money. It didn't cost me anything to start this business. I made profit, I had costs, I had to put my time in to get that profit, but I didn't lose money. I wouldn't have made more money if I'd used the time doing something else. But then, at the end of the day, it wasn't worth continuing. So I wound the business up, closed it down, and just put it on my CV as something I've done. It's not a failure. Business is only a failure when you owe huge amounts of money to the bank and you can't pay your rent and people are chasing you and you feel like you've been thumped in the stomach or the balls. That's failure. Everything else is just an experiment to see if you can make money with a particular concept. It's just testing the market, it's testing the business model, It's testing your offering until you get everything right. Until that point, it's not a failure. It's just an experiment. And if you do that right, you do everything properly and identify the need and identify the solution and find a business model that will make money for you, then you won't fail. All you have to do then is scale that business so that it can make you lots of money, and you will not fail in business. A lot of people are afraid of failure. They think that these little experiments are failure if they don't get a profitable result, but they're not. It's just a test.